Portable met Seyi Tinubu and Burna Boy in one epic moment that has Nigerians talking non-stop. You don't want to miss this gist because it's deeper than you think. Let me take you into what might be the biggest emotional moment in Portable's career so far. Picture this: you hustle your way from the streets, rise to fame through raw talent and controversy, and then one day you find yourself standing in front of the president's son, Seyi Tinubu. That's exactly what happened to Portable, and what followed was a moment that had everyone talking. He wasn't just smiling, he was crying. Yes, Portable the Zazu crooner broke down in tears. Now, before we dive deeper into what made him so emotional, let's talk about the setting. This wasn't just any random event. It was a star-studded celebration, Bukola Vodi's birthday. If you know Lagos elite parties, you know they're always filled with powerful names, from politicians to celebrities. But nobody expected this kind of clash. Portable, Seyi Tinubu, and Burna Boy all in one space. It was an unusual triangle of fame, power, and raw emotion. As Portable walked into the event, he saw Seyi Tinubu standing not far off. And in that moment, something shifted. You could literally see the wave of emotion hit him. It wasn't a joke. Cameras captured him wiping his face, holding back tears, and walking straight to Seyi Tinubu. The handshake between them was more than just a greeting. It was the handshake of a man who had finally crossed a line he never thought possible, from the trenches to the top. Now let's pause and unpack that. Why did Portable cry? Why was he so overwhelmed? Some say it was simply gratitude. He was emotional because he had finally been recognized by one of the most powerful families in the country. Remember, Portable is a street ambassador. He's known for his wild rants, raw lyrics, and sometimes chaotic behavior. So seeing him emotional, respectful, even almost speechless, that shook a lot of people. For the first time, many saw the vulnerable side of Portable, and it made the moment even more powerful. And just as the room was adjusting to that emotional scene, Burna Boy entered the frame. Let's be honest, when Burna Boy walks into any space, the energy shifts. And in his usual style, he didn't just stand there quietly. Burna gave a powerful shout out to Opa6ix saying, "WAN KPAI OPA6ix." If you know street lingo, you know what that means. It's a loud, energetic way of honoring someone with deep respect. But what made it even more iconic was that he said it while Portable was right there beside him, in the presence of Seyi Tinubu. That single line went viral within minutes. And here's the twist. It wasn't just what was said, but the symbolism. In that moment, Burna Boy was recognizing street loyalty. Portable was representing hustle. And Seyi Tinubu, he was representing influence and authority. It was a perfect storm of power, emotion, and fame. After that moment, the internet did what it always does, blew the story up. TikTok, Instagram, X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, everyone was sharing clips of Portable crying, Burna shouting, and Seyi smiling calmly. People had opinions. Some were praising Portable for being real and emotional. Others were saying, he's doing too much, maybe it's clout. But most people agreed it was a big moment. And here's why it matters. In Nigeria today, there's an increasing connection between pop culture and politics. Seyi Tinubu showing up at that event wasn't just casual. It sent a message. Politicians are paying attention to the culture. Burna Boy, with all his global fame, hasn't been afraid to mix street identity with big moves. And Portable, he's the wild card. He moves with rawness, unpredictability, and emotion. That's why people love him or hate him. So let's talk about the bigger meaning behind this. For Portable, this wasn't just a handshake, it was access. This could be a door opener. You know what happens when artists start getting seen around political families? Endorsements come, invitations follow, influence multiplies. Now for Burna Boy, his shout out to Opa6ix shows he hasn't forgotten his roots. Even though he's performing around the world and bagging awards, he's still deeply tied to the streets and the culture that raised him. That one phrase, "WAN KPAI OPA6ix," was like him telling the world, "I'm still here, I still see you." Seyi Tinubu, for his part, handled the moment with quiet power. He didn't interrupt. He didn't dismiss Portable's emotions. He let the man have his moment. And that was powerful in itself. It showed that even people in high political circles are beginning to understand the weight and influence of artists like Portable. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Some fans believe this was more than just a feel-good moment. They think Portable is being smart, building his influence for something bigger. We've seen artists cross into politics before. We've seen entertainers turn into power players. So this might not just be a random cry, it might be a chess move. There's another layer, the street. Opa6ix, who Burna referenced, is a Lagos nightlife legend, a real street figure. For Burna to recognize him in that moment sends a message to the streets that they're still valued. And for Portable to be standing right there as that happened, it was a moment of complete validation. Street meets state, art met authority, hype met history. This is one of those rare Nigerian pop culture moments where everything aligns: raw emotion, power, clout, and media. That's why it's still trending. That's why we're talking about it. Because it wasn't just entertainment, it was a reflection of something bigger. Portable cried not because he was weak, but because the moment was too big to fake. It was real. It was heavy. It meant something. And that's why Nigerians are talking about it. Not just as fans, but as people who understand what it means to come from nothing and touch greatness. So as you watch that video again, and you will, look deeper. Look beyond the handshake, beyond the tears, beyond the shout out. You'll see something powerful: the changing face of influence in Nigeria. And Portable, wild and unpredictable as it may be, just became part of that conversation in the most emotional way possible. If you enjoyed this gist and you want more stories that dive deeper than the headlines, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. More untold stories, more real breakdowns are coming your way. And remember, no matter where you come from, your journey can take you to places you never imagined. Just ask Portable.